A child's point of view can be a really powerful tool when used with horror. No other type of character feels as vulnerable or as powerless, and this all works to just maximize a sense of terror. But this also has the chance to tell stories about growth, especially when the child is able to overcome their fears and survive the evil. The snake-haired girl and the silver-haired witch is a great example of this. And it's one that not until recently was made available to view outside of its native country, Japan. But now it's widely available for anyone with the new Arrow release. But I was lucky enough to be given a copy of this film from a good friend. So once again, shout out to the Nerdy Ronin and his excellent YouTube channel. So this isn't really a movie I ever heard of, but it is considered a bit of a Japanese horror classic. The story follows an orphan girl named Sayuri, and she's just really excited for her new life. She's been told that soon she'll be reunited with her biological parents. She's gonna live in a big mansion, have her own room, new clothes, and it's basically everything she could have dreamed of. But things begin to get strange as soon as she arrives. First, one of the housemaids gets wheeled away, and she died under mysterious circumstances. And her mother has sustained a head injury, and it makes it difficult for her to remember stuff. And she mistakenly calls Sayuri Tamami. When her father, who's an expert on venomous snakes, he suddenly gets called away to Africa to study a new specimen. And this is when the horror for Sayuri really begins. So this film isn't actually based on any previous single works, but instead it takes different elements from a few of Kazuo Umezo's manga stories. And in case you didn't know, Kazuo Umezo is a leading figure in horror manga. His career started in the early 60s, and it's still going on strong to this day. And I gotta say, every film I've seen adapted from his work has all been good and worth watching. And I've always been more familiar with the horror manga artist Junji Ito, but I'm sure that even he was influenced by Umezo at some point. This guy's like the godfather of manga horror. Umezo often centers his stories around innocent child protagonists, and they're usually attempting to find their way out of different horrific situations. And that's definitely what we get here with the main character. And we often hear her inner monologue. And this is something that feels very fitting for a film that's just taking elements from a manga story format. The film's director is Noriaki Yuasa, and this is definitely different from the rest of his filmography. A lot of his films just have to do with the monster Gamera. And if you don't know who Gamera is, he's basically a Godzilla-type turtle. They're fun films. But it's a shame that he didn't give us more films like the Snake Girl and the Silver-Haired Witch. I feel like this film definitely showed an interesting style, and it just would have been nice to see more Yuasa films like this. This is just a really fun and campy film. I especially liked its mansion setting. I think it gives the film more of a gothic feeling, and it's just a great atmospheric flick. It's perfect for Halloween, perfect for any spooky night. The whole elaborate mansion is just filled full of strange objects and forbidden rooms. What also adds to the film is the main character has this new sister, and she's really creepy. And the whole time you just know there's something wrong with her. And we're seeing it through a child's scared minds. There's also some visually creative dream sequences. They're almost like a tamer version of some of the visuals from Nobuhiko Obayashi's House. And he himself actually adapted one of Umeza's works in 1987 with The Drifting Classroom.
Who are you?
But there is some moments where the effects definitely do show some of their cheapness and age. You know, there's like fake spiders and stuff. But that also kind of adds to the film's charm. What the scenes achieve is they blur the lines between fantasy and reality. And it makes you question the exact nature of what is happening to this child, as well as just a heightening feeling of childhood terror about what she's going through. So the Snake Girl and the Silver-Haired Witch, it has a lot of that fun children's horror quality. It's not really scary, so I think even the Nerdy Ronin can handle it. But I'll say that this is just a really fun watch. I think this could also just be a good gateway film for anyone that wants to introduce someone else to the Japanese horror genre. It's light on more of the cultural elements, but it could also just introduce someone to the attitude of a lot of Japanese films, especially what they have towards their monsters. And it just touches on things that veteran fans of Japanese horror would already be familiar with. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you have a happy Halloween. Make sure you watch some really good Japanese horror. Thanks for watching.